I used to believe time was something I could afford to waste. 21 years old, jobless, and a college dropout. I told myself I was just taking a break. But day after day, I'd sleep until noon, heat up leftovers, and sit for hours with my face lit by a screen. Games, videos, endless scrolling. Anything to avoid thinking about how stuck I really was. My mom never said much. She'd just smile sadly when I shuffled past her in the kitchen, her eyes carrying more exhaustion than her words ever would. She worked 2 jobs since Dad left, and I knew I was part of her burden, but knowing wasn't enough to make me move. Fear of failing again kept me rooted in place. Then one afternoon, while I was stocking shelves at the small convenience store I worked at part-time, he walked in. He came every Thursday. Old man, maybe in his 70s, neatly dressed with silver hair and a voice that made you want to sit and listen. His name was Mr. Enoch. He never said much, just bought the same pack of crackers and a bottle of mineral water. But that day, he lingered. "You always look tired," he said gently, "even when you're not working hard." I gave a half smile. Yeah, life's tiring, even when nothing happens. He chuckled softly. "That's the problem. Nothing happening. Feels safe, but it's actually the slowest kind of decay." His words landed heavier than I expected. He told me he used to waste time too. He had dreams, big ones, but every day he'd tell himself, "Tomorrow," until he looked up and 20 years had passed. I didn't know why, but I asked him why he still came here every week. "Because I like to watch the young," he said. "It reminds me of what I still regret. And sometimes," he paused, looking me straight in the eye, "sometimes I try to stop one from ending up like me." He left me his phone number that day. For 3 days, I didn't call, but every time I picked up a controller or opened a video app, I thought of his eyes. Not sad, but filled with a deep kind of emptiness, a space where life should have been lived. When I finally called him, I was nervous. He answered like he was expecting me. He gave me one challenge. "Try something for 30 days. No idling. Replace your hours of escape with hours of effort. No games. No scrolling. Just pure work. Any work that builds you." I laughed. "Sounds like punishment." He replied, "No. Punishment is realizing you had time and did nothing with it." That night, I deleted my game apps. The first morning of the challenge, I stared at my ceiling for a long time. My body didn't want to move. The idea of trading comfort for uncertainty felt unbearable. But something in me had shifted. I couldn't forget Mr. Enoch's eyes, or the silence in his voice when he spoke of regret. I got up. At first, I didn't know what to do with my time, so I made a list. Simple things: read a book on productivity, apply to one internship, watch a documentary instead of a show, write for 10 minutes. Every task felt small, but doing them made me feel something I hadn't felt in months: control. By the end of the first week, I was exhausted, but it was a different kind of tired. It wasn't from mindless screen time. It was the weight of effort, and strangely, it felt good. On day 10, I wanted to quit. The novelty had worn off, and no one was praising me for the changes. No miracle had arrived. I was still the same guy, still behind on life. That night, I almost reinstalled my games, but I called Mr. Enoch instead. He didn't say much, just reminded me that change isn't a firework. It's a drip. daily, steady, invisible until suddenly it carves through rock. I kept going. I applied to 5 internships, started an online marketing course, and began waking up early. I journaled every night, and in those pages I saw my fears start to thin out. Not vanish, but shift. I wasn't scared of failure as much anymore. I was scared of staying the same. By the 3rd week, I found myself talking to people differently. I was more alert, more curious. I asked a customer what they did for a living. He turned out to be a manager at a media company. We talked for 20 minutes and he gave me his card. I sent him my resume that night. On day 28, I received an email. I had landed a remote internship, unpaid, but real, and I had earned it, not through a trick or connection, but through the minutes I had almost thrown away. I went to visit Mr. Enoch the next day. He smiled when I told him. He wasn't surprised. "All you did," he said, "was stop losing time. The rest follows." Now, every time I feel the urge to sit idle, I remember how easily life slips past unnoticed. I think of my mother's quiet fatigue, of Mr. Enoch's unspoken sorrow, of my own days lost to nothing. Time doesn't shout. It whispers. And when we don't listen, it moves on without us. Use it or regret it. That's what I learned. Because the hardest work isn't chasing success. It's refusing to let your life be ruled by delay. If this story made you pause even for a moment to think about what truly matters, then maybe, like me, you're ready to stop chasing and start living. If it touched you, feel free to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that help us grow together.